Hello, everyone. Renee Hughes here and Jessica Kufos. We are the Mood Makeover Method coaches, and I'm the founder of the Aroma Specialists. I created this method, the Mood Makeover Method, at a time when I sorely needed my mood completely remade. And so I put together all of the things that I have been learning as a student of aromatherapy, of psychoaromatherapy, as a natural health consultant. And I put together this method that transformed the way that I think and feel and tested it with a lot of my clients that I was working with at the time. We were actually working on physical pain, chronic pain. My clients at that time were individuals dealing with chronic pain. But I began using this method with them, and over, we saw amazing results in our emotional health. And so the Mood Makeover Method was born. And Jessica Kufos went through the program about 3 years ago. So introduce yourself, Jessica.
Everybody. My name is Jessica Kufos, and I am one of the certified instructors for the Mood Makeover Method. And I'm just so incredibly excited, you guys, because I went through this program a few years back at a time in my life when things were just terrible. I had no idea how to get through issues that I was dealing with. Everything was setting me off. I was struggling, and I mean, everything was setting me off. I didn't know how to deal with people and how to have really loving, nurturing relationships, especially with me. I had no clue what that even looked like. And so, being able to do this program and go through the steps and the process that Renee and I have been talking about this week, I mean, it's life changing where you get to really come to know you, love who you are, and by thereby creating a safe space, not just for yourself, but for other people around you. And it's just been absolutely amazing.
It is. I love it so much. I'm so grateful for it. And today we're talking about another one of the principles that we use guiding us through the Mood Makeover Method, and it's called taking the toxic out of the love. I would say that one of the things that I hear the most when it comes to results are relationships. By far, the healing of relationships, as Jessica mentioned, with yourself first and then with everybody in your whole world and sphere. It affects everyone. I think what makes this unique and why I wanted this, I remember when I was trying to think of this sentence because I wanted something that what I knew I needed something. I said, what can we do when there are certain relationships that are not going anywhere?
Hmm.
We hear a lot about, when it comes to self-care and self-help, and I know there's going to be a lot of coaches that disagree with me on this, but there is this thing where, if something is toxic, you cut it out.
Hmm.
They toxic, get rid of them and move on with your life, and you find somebody that, a best friend, whoever that's going to really love you for you. But you know what I found is that sometimes the most painful relationships are people who actually do love us and that we love. But there's issues and we keep hurting one another. And there had to be something. I was like, what about those relationships? What about the ones that you don't want to walk away from? Sometimes we need to walk away there, for our own safety. But we're not talking about those relationships. We're talking about loving moms, dads, spouses, best friends, sisters, brothers, members of our congregation. We're talking about people that are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Guess what? We're going to see them. We're going to see them. We need to figure out how to interact. They might be coworkers, they're not going anywhere. And so I always use the illustration of, we're taught, movies and storytelling is so powerful because it teaches us. And while we feel like we're just being entertained from youth up, we've always seen depicted, these people who are in toxic relationships and they always get out of the relationship and they move to another relationship. They find a new best friend, or even if it's a parent, they leave that parent, or they walk away from someone who's not treated them fairly. And it always ends with the music swelling and this person standing up for themselves and walking out of the door, and we cry and we cheer and we're like, yes, this person did it, why can't I do it? And what nobody tells you is with all their luggage and all of their baggage that they're packing in the car, that pain is going right with them down the road. And nobody talks about that.
No.
They don't talk about that. You don't just leave it at that door. And so, rather you leave a relationship or rather you stay in it, either way, the toxicity, we've got to figure out how to get rid of it and still have love behind. That's what I wanted. I wanted to find a way that we could have love and move this whole basis of this entire program is love.
Yeah.
Loving for ourselves, but not just ourselves only, for those around us as well. And so, taking the toxic out of the love. Let's listen up on this and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen here. Of the love. So this is principle number 2 that we teach in detail in the 5-day workshop and also very much so within the program during our one-on-one sessions. And this is something that has caused relationships to heal. It has caused people to remove forever the self-loathing. It has caused people to be able to love again, to connect, to be able to express love to themselves and to others. This principle is a phenomenal way to tread the way to forgiveness and to internal peace that is truly lasting. If you want to be able to wake up every day at peace, deep, innermost soul peace and happiness, this step cannot be skipped. Taking the toxic out of the love. So we do this by teaching how to lovingly create boundaries after we first become really clear on who we are and what we really want and why. Then we're able to teach others how to interact with us and how to be involved in our lives, and we're able to show up better in their lives. Taking the toxic out of the love is a real game changer. All right. There you have it. Taking the toxic out of the love. I think the video explained it really, really well. Do you have anything to add to it, Jess?
Yeah, I think the video explained it well. And I like the point that you mentioned in that video is we have to get clear first because a lot of times, people, I think there's this thing now currently where it's like, you got to set up boundaries here, boundaries there, boundaries everywhere. But are you really clear about why you're setting those boundaries? Because if you're not, if you don't really understand what's at the core, you're going to set boundaries for every little thing, and it's just going to become exhausting and difficult, and it's going to be frustrating, not just for you but for those who you love and who want to interact and be in your life. And so really understanding at the core what you need to set boundaries around, get clear on your why. You have to get clear at the root, and once you get clear at the root, you may find that you don't need boundaries for ABC XYZ. It may just be this one solid thing, and hey, we're not doing this, or don't do X, Y, or Z. But you have to have that clarity, and you have to really understand why at the root. And it's just that for me was it's just the
I
best.
know, I love it so much. And there's something you said that reminded me of something. I'm trying to remember what it was now. But yeah, that idea of setting boundaries before you're ready is so important, because what ends up happening in relationships, because we tend to make other people the villain in our story. They're the villain. They are the ones that's causing us. If only they would. And what happens is, and if you've ever been on the receiving end of this, you know what it's like. If you've ever been around someone who's constantly triggered, they're triggered, and you feel like you're jumping and you're nervous because you don't know, well, is this okay? Is that okay? Like, what am I supposed to be doing here? Because they haven't really gotten clear on it themselves. But when you get clear, it's such a beautiful thing, because when you get clear on it, you know exactly what it is that you're asking for. And then you can demonstrate. You can, because sometimes people don't know. Like, they're like, this is okay for me. That's why I've been doing it. It's not okay for me. So now you can demonstrate what that's going to look like and what this new relationship is going to look like. And you can do it in a spirit of love, instead of, you're not going to be doing this to me, and I'm going to teach you how to treat me and all this kind of stuff. It's just like, okay, we can do it in a spirit of love, and it has a completely different effect than bogarting our way, to through people's lives and not understanding that most people are not trying to hurt us on purpose. They've got their whole thing, and for them, They're like, what? I mean, how many times have we had people come to us saying, you hurt me, you disappointed me, I didn't like this? And we're like, what? We weren't expecting that because it wasn't our intention. Doesn't matter if it was the intention or not, this is what happened. So, all of this, you can start to see how all these pieces work together, the perception and the taking the toxic out, and how we can move about having these conversations to really and truly create peace that's lasting. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
excited about it. We got one more for you. We're going to be talking about stop participating in the pain, and we're going to do that in the next video. See you soon.